G'day everyone, Guna here with another Torchlight Infinite Sandlord season video. Don't know what happened then, but sure, okay, whatever. So in this video, I'll be going over my 2 trillion DPS Boom Moto. Now, it can do more damage if you forsake tank. However, I'm able to easily do Profound. I can do Deep Space if I reinvest some FE back into Slates or into Kismets and that sort of thing. However, I didn't really have much success in Deep Space, and I've started playing Rosa, so I'm pretty happy with where my Boom Moto is. There is far better Boom Moto builds in the rankings on Asia. You can go to this guy, maybe not. Surely one of these, this guy, yeah, so this guy was the first one to get really high. Looking at his Pactspirits, he just, spends a lot of money on the game. Some of his slates and stuff are pretty good, but nothing amazing. And he was the first to clear this, I believe, the 29th of the 4th. And then, yeah, everyone else was a fair bit after that. So he was the pioneer of the season, clearing like 3,400 on Ordrak really quickly. And, if you've got infinite money, obviously you are going to be the top of the food chain, at least early on. But anyway, let's get into my character. So let's start off with the talents, going through a lot of the mistakes that people have been whispering me on Discord about is in the initial video or the last video, I had a pedigree here that basically takes up as much room as 2 divinity slates. However, if you go with a pedigree that just has isomorphic arms on it and nothing else, you're basically freeing up the ability to grab Mighty Guard. Yeah, so Mighty Guard. So if we look at Mighty Guard, it has +2 minion skill level, +4 command. You know what else has +2 minion level and 4 command? 2 slates. So that would be equivalent to 2 of these, but only the fixed talent nodes. You wouldn't get any of this extra stuff. So by going the pedigree, it's a good first thing because the pedigree is quite cheap to just get isomorphic arms. However, later on, you're better off with 2 slates, just like 2 of these. If we count these 2 as the pedigree, you're gaining an extra 4 command, plus you're gaining an extra 24% movement speed, energy shield charge interval, minion max life, etc. So I apologize for the previous one where that's where I went, but it was an early build, and you're better off just having 2 normal slates over a pedigree that only has isomorphic arms. Obviously, if you have one with isomorphic arms and rally or something else that's really good for the build, then by all means, go with the pedigree. But if it's just got isomorphic arms, go with 2 slates because you'll have 6 extra affixes to really boost up there. While I'm here, I may as well go on with slates again. Minion max life is really good. That's a nothing. That affix with the 10% damage doesn't apply to us because it's not minion damage, so it doesn't matter. Minion skill level. Crafting these can be pretty pricey. Maybe I'll do that in the video. I don't know how much flame elementum I have at the moment. And the thing with the Sparks of the Prairie, a copy is the last talent on your slates. So here I have minion skill level, so that's getting copied. Up here I have the movement speed, that's being copied. The movement speed here is getting copied, and the +1 minion skill level down there is being copied. Ideally, I'd probably want just all +1 minion skill for the damage. However, having all the extra movement speed when the hero trait slows us down by 30% is really quite nice to have. Uh, convert physical to cold damage. Every time you convert damage, it is a multiplier, so it's really quite nice. This slate is actually pretty garbage. We don't have energy shield regain, plus 2 max ES for every 5 int. We don't have that much int, and plus 4%. So this slate's actually pretty garbage. I don't really know why I'm using it. Anyway, back to the talents. I got a little bit sidetracked there. I would go with minion damage here as my last 2 points. Excuse me. Or if you're going for deep space, there is chance to avoid ailment here somewhere. Maybe it's on Warlock. It's down the bottom. Yes, chance to avoid elemental ailments. You can pick up 30% there, which is really good for deep space. But I'm not doing deep space, and I'll just do profound because I make plenty in profound and I'm having a bit of fun there. Anyway, on to machinist. There's all the points there. With boss, you would normally go with rally, but I have rally on my belt, so I get boss here. Burning aggression for 30 command every 2 seconds when an elite is nearby. That's just a huge amount of damage boost. So every point of command will grant 3% additional damage. So that is 90% additional damage, which is enormous. So pretty hard to go past that. On to Warlock, we have Indifference and Off the Beaten Track because of auras and cooldown recovery and whatnot there. So pretty standard for that part of the build. And anywho, next up, let's have a look at the gear. So the gear, let's just press B. Hello? B. So some key items for the build are the Machine Lord helmet. We are converting all of our physical damage to fire, cold, and lightning. So it's just a huge multiplier for the helmet. Unfortunately, with this helmet, you have to have your minions cannot deal physical damage Warden's Breastpin. One with a higher crit strike rating and crit strike damage is very, very, very good. So if you aren't getting this, there's a chance that you aren't using isomorphic arms, because the weapon that we'll look at in a minute gives you a huge amount of crit strike rating and crit strike damage. So these two are pretty core to the build to getting into the trillions of damage. Before that, I had one that wasn't fixed at 3 for ages, and I was still farming profound quite easily. So the way this works is the max number of synthetic troops in the map is fixed at, by default it is 2, and because you're using mechanical mod, that gets halved down to 1. If you have it fixed at 3, it gets halved down to 1.5, rounded up to 2. Physique, don't know. Couldn't get really a straight answer on what physique did. Maybe it's minion max life or something, but pretty much the descriptions in the game just say size. Who cares? Surely it does something. And a bit of cull for minions. However, minions deal a lot of flat damage, so this, not many times you'll be leaving something on 16% life. It'll probably just get outright killed. So the chest that's really good, this is deceiving on the price check because it is a minimum. It's actually a maximum of 40. So that boosts that price quite a lot, and 180 all stats is fantastic for the build. Onto gloves, you can use the Death Touch if you want. Just take note that you will be far squishier because there is no resistance on here. If you had tier 0 resistances elsewhere, maybe. But a decent pair of gloves like this is really nice for survival as well. So Death Touch is definitely an option. It is really cheap now, but you will be, you know, a lot squishier. So that's why I've gone with the crafted ones. They could be upgraded to tier 0, definitely. +3 active skill level will be nice. You know, higher minion damage and obviously resistances. Boots, you can upgrade this for Lone Walker's boots with Radical Order, which will give you more damage and free up another aura slot, and you'll have extra aura effect and stuff from that as well. They're about 4,000 Flame Elementium for a non-corroded option. Then you can have a go at double corrupting it if you want. My rings, I have armor damage mitigation, physical damage to minions. This one is a pretty key stat to have on there. Extra physical damage. It is being converted, which is a multiplier. It adds physical damage as fire, cold, and lightning. So that's, you know, huge. Any chance that you can get physical damage to your minions, for that to add extra from the helmet is fantastic. Minion damage, minion crit strike damage, command, getting 10 command there would probably be a pretty smart idea. Looking at the rolls, it's pretty horrible rolls, honestly, so I should probably hit that with a Truth Ember. There we go, now we've got 10. We lost 2 crit strike rating. We lost a lot of cold res, actually. But we gained max physical there. Pretty horrible minion. Oh, it was already horrible. But anyway, I digress. We did gain 2 command, so we gained 6% additional damage, which is pretty nice. The other ring is pretty similar to the other one. I just haven't hit tier 1 double damage there, which would be really, really nice. Getting 100% double damage would be huge, but I just haven't invested that much FE into getting that. So this weapon is quite huge. It gives an obscene amount of crit strike rating and crit damage with isomorphic arms. The way that this works is isomorphic arms gives these stats to your minions. However, because of Warden's Breastpin, I have 78% of my crit strike rating, and crit strike damage is also applied to minions. So instead of this being 234% crit strike damage, it is instead... So we've got 234 times 0.78 plus 234. So that is actually giving my minions 416% crit strike damage, and the crit strike rating, it is giving 811 crit strike rating, which if we look at our minions and their damage, you can see that I have a 97.68% crit strike rating with 976% crit strike damage. So there's almost a 100% chance, well it probably is a 100% chance because of lucky. There's a 100% chance at almost 10 times damage, which is kind of insane. But, you know, when you're comparing it to other S tier classes, it sounds insane, but it's not that insane. But anyway, and more physical damage. I would go with armor damage mitigation here instead of elemental and erosion pen. I've rolled that a fair few times and I've not hit armor at tier 1 once, and it just deletes currency trying to roll for that. Every time you attempt, it's 60 FE and about 40 FE worth of ultimate embers, so it's 100 FE per click, and it gets very pricey very quickly. And then when you want to upgrade that to tier 0, it's about 600 FE a click, which is kind of nuts. So it gets very expensive very quickly. So a couple of upgrades that you could do here is just get the tier 1s. I could corrode this and go for some tier 0s. The way that this works is energy shield cannot be interrupted, and you get less energy shield recharge speed, the more energy shield you have. So you don't have to wait for a charge interval. The first time you get hit, you will never get back up to 100% energy shield in that map. So you're always in a constant state of charge. So there's no charge interval. It'll just keep trying to charge the entire time. And that belt gives quite a lot of energy shield. So if we look at our energy shield, it's 8603. I remove this and I go down to 5,500, which is a fairly huge chunk. You could probably upgrade this for just a rare belt with some energy shield and stuff like that. And instead of rally, if you have 3,000 flame elementium to spare, I would probably go to the Oasis and get on, I think it's Heroic Sacrifice. Let's just quickly check. Go to Blending Rituals and chuck it in here. You do need 3 Oasis to, it's Guerrilla Tactics. So Guerrilla Tactics is Self-Destruct Protocol Charge Speed, plus 3% additional self-destruct protocol damage for each mechanical part. Stacks up to 20 times. So that's 60% additional self-destruct protocol damage for each mechanical part, up to 20. It's up to 60% additional charge speed and additional damage, which is quite huge, but it does cost an absolute ton. So these are about 500 each, and these are 1,000 each. So it's about 3,000 flame elementium to try for that. Nice of a trade to finish. I was just setting out these guys to complete to get these up to 7, so I could unlock that blending. So pretty cool. That's going to be pretty garbage, but whatever. Oop, I don't want to deploy anything. So anyway, back to the character. It's pretty tanky because I have switched out damage auras for defensive auras, which is really quite nice. I thought I was res capped. Guess not. And yeah, so one of the major things that I did was increase this. So previously I had 2 damage auras and I had 3 damage auras and 1 energy shield. I've switched it out for steadfast. So if we deactivate steadfast, you can see that my tank goes down a lot. So 17% physical damage mitigation and 10% non-physical. With that 1 aura, I lost about 600 million damage. However, I gained a lot of survivability, so 43 and 26. So it's about 25% and 15% damage mitigation, which allows me to take a lot more hits in Profound, so I can just not really lose any maps anymore, and I can, you know, just blitz through it that way. Anywho, next up we have Battle Pactspirits. My Pactspirits are really good because I play Moto pretty much every season, or minions of some sort. So I have Mechanical Throne, who has chance to deal double damage for synthetic troops, which is fantastic, and additional minion damage. Next up, I have Whisper Wind Leaves. This is extra crit strike rating for recently summoned minions, which is fantastic for Boom Moto, because you're constantly summoning minions. So they've always got 160% crit strike rating. That would put me over 100% chance, which is great. And finally, this guy, just for, again, more crit strike rating for recently summoned. So I probably don't need as much crit strike rating as I have, as these guys will top me off quite easily. The micros that I have, I just put command everywhere because every point of command is 3% additional damage. This is just left over from doing deep space because that's just another way of mitigating those two, and then command everywhere else. I do have more crit strike, flat crit strike here because you've got a lot of percent increased. You need the flat for it to be increased. And down here with Kismet leader, +2 command and 18% minion max life. You could have more of those potentially. No, I've got 2 of those, 3 of those. Yes, I've got 3 leaders and 1 flat crit strike rating. If you had undetermined fates, you could either go for 100% reduced trauma and wilt damage taken, or you could go with extra command or something like that. What have I got left? Skills. Skills are pretty important. So in here, I went with the crit strike damage increase because it is additional damage. Wait. I thought that said 38% additional crit strike damage, but it's just 38% additional damage. Whatever. It was actually more damage than projectile split, which is quite surprising, but it is what it is. So maybe if I got a 21 of that, it'd be even better. The damage is pretty close, but you just hit for bigger amounts with crit strike damage over projectile split. Oh, what is on with the throat? The other skill supports is 65% additional life for minions. Pretty much no brainer there. And this one is a huge amount of additional damage as well. You go with Spider Egg. This is pretty pricey to level up. However, this one is really cheap to level up in comparison. If you want to know about leveling up your Magnificent and Noble skills, I have a calculator on my tracking sheet and a video about that as well. Whilst I was testing out defensive skills to use in here, Delayed Pain stopped me getting one shot pretty often. Other things that you go for is Defensive Buffer. I do have a candle that gives me Focus Blessings on trigger, so you're always at 4 focus, 4 tenacity, 4 agility. So you definitely get the extra 11% physical and elemental damage take reduction, which is fantastic. Excuse me. 4 start is another option. So there's a few options that you can go with. You could go with Frost Shield as well, would be fantastic. But just test out which one works best for you and go with that. Extra armor and stuff really helps with survivability. My movement skill is Blink, and you just want an activation medium, something cheap with a lot of additional cooldown recovery speed. Just means that you can dash around more often. This is better than a flat cooldown recovery. And I went with cost conversion because I went with an extra precise selfless. God, my throat is so dry. This has minus sealed compensation, so it triggers the opposite effect when using off the beaten track. So normally this would reduce, an extra support here would reduce your sealed mana. So if we look, I've got 9 out of 526. If I change this for increased area, I get an extra 3%. So minus is a negative in this regard, but that's fine. Precise Energy Fortress. I would love to have Selfless in here too, but I would need more sealed mana compensation elsewhere or a Precise Restrain. But that is ridiculously expensive and I am cheap. Radical Order in the last slot. I didn't need the crit damage from Fearless. Crit rating, sorry. So this ended up being the worst of the 3 and worse than Precise Projectiles as well. So these two with my build are better. Again, just switch them out for each other until you see which one gives you the most damage. Soul Candles, I have main skill is supported by level 20 wind projectiles. Spider Egg gives your spiders the projectile tag, so this works. And then Sealed Mannequin Compensation. And the other one I have Hardened. Level 20 Hardened gives additional damage, and you can manually cast this for an extra 20% damage reduction, which is really good. And the Blessing Trigger. I haven't coughed in days, and I don't know what is going on. It's frustrating. So that is all of these skills. We've gone through gear, skills, talents, hero traits. We have Unstoppable Wave, Heroic Sacrifice. That is just insane. You'll want +2 hero trait level there when you can get it. Ultimately, you would want it on a ultimate, so you can get this to level 5. However, that is an insane amount of FE. So this is a cheaper alternative. And just get crit strike, crit damage, spell block, attack block, that sort of thing. I'd probably take that over max energy shield. I just haven't put the FE into rolling that. And then guerrilla tactics is what you would get on your other on the belt if I didn't have rally. That's pretty much it. Gear, skills, talent, hero trait, Pactspirits, and yeah, so that is pretty much it. One last thing, if you have a drop filter, if it's saying that it's not public, you need to come in here, go create from a shared code, and paste the code in there. That is how you add someone else's filter. There is another way of doing it, however it is wrong, so you will have to go here, create from a share code, and put it in there. They are global. They're pretty much never not public. So yeah. Anywho, that's what I've got for this video. Thanks for watching, and nope, that's not all I've got. Let's show a profound map. I almost forgot. People like to see the gameplay aspect. So fully juice. I was on Rosa. That's why it was not complete. I can't remember what I was running. It was probably this. You don't have the survivability. Are you sure? So if you want to self-cast, oh man, I've forgotten how to play. If you want to self-cast Hardened, just press R, and you can notice up the top here, there's the Hardened buff. If your minions are triggering it, then you don't get the Hardened. Just stop, press R, and there you go. You have the damage reduction available. So Boom Moto is pretty cool. You just run through. Almost died then, but without the extra buffs, I definitely would have died. Sunfall Cannon. I wonder if it's a base that I would use. So you're able to just dash through a lot of damage, and Boom just keeps blowing shit up as you go along. So it's a really fun playstyle, at least for me. It's a little bit slower, so just keep that in mind. Especially if you're talking shit and get distracted. It's very good for certain mechanics like Arcana. It's very good for because the minions teleport underneath the domes. If you get the protective dome, it doesn't matter because the minions don't care. They just run into it and explode. And yeah, so it's pretty easy, very chill to farm with. And I really like it. It's great for bossing. If you do Uber Keegan, do I have enough things? I don't have any Doom. What's a Doom cost? 15. They're coming down. Whatever that'll do. Just give me 2. So Keegan is still insane FE, and with 2 truing damage, it's really quite simple. So you just cast Hardened. I'll see if he actually kills me. Or if we can just stand still. So there we go. So that's pretty much as hard as this boss is. If you have over 2 truing damage, you can pretty much skip all the phases. And then this will get you about 1,000 or 1,200 FE an hour. Just dash over that to avoid this one. The other one goes down, cast Hardened, jump out, and then this damage shouldn't be able to kill us. Stand here under the shield, and he'll drop us a Familiar Nexus, which was selling for 59 last night. Didn't actually check the price of it, so let's just quickly have a look at that. Nope. Where's it at? Oh, they're down to 52. It's still going to be profit, but they were 50. They 59 last night? That seems like a lot. They were down to 55.9. So it's come down a little bit, but the price has come down a little bit as well. But anyway, that's pretty much this character. It's a very fun character to just explode stuff. I like the playstyle. Some people say I baited them into playing this. I play it because I enjoy the playstyle. Is it going to be as good as Carino 2? Probably not. Carino 2 is overpowered. Thea 3 is overpowered. Or maybe they're just the good power and everyone else is underpowered. But anyway, that's what I've got for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.